Hello and welcome back to the tutorial. In this one we're going to be doing rendering. First thing you need to do is select all your models, or just click that little group object. These are technically null objects. These can do many things. You don't see these when you render. Sometimes you can use like lights. You can put a spotlight that points at a null object, a camera that points at one. There's different things you can do with null objects, or use them like I do as groups. Okay, Control C, copy. Control S, save your models. Now open up your render file. If you already got it rendered, just hit Window and go to Render. You don't have to set the renders up as two different files, but in this little tutorial, I do. Then hit Control V. Let's scale this down a little bit because of how this is set up. And just position it so it sits on the floor. And because this is already perfectly set up, all you need to do is render. But I want to show you how this render scene works first. We have two planes here. One has like a fall off image, but it gets kind of, as you can tell, that gets kind of annoying to place objects on it. So I've got that not seen in editor, and then I've got this plane, which is seen in editor but not seen in render. Now there's two ways of rendering this. You can render it with the completely black background like I have, or you can click this little composite tag, click scene by camera, then click unclick the little red for the render. If you wait for it, hit Control R, and it renders the file. As you can tell, that looks pretty nice already. Next thing we need to do, that's if you want to keep this as like a background. You can use this render scene for other things that you make. I have taken this as it's an adaptation from the car project file, which is it should be in your files that you downloaded. Hang on, I will show you where. Because of Cinema 4D doesn't install, or at least it didn't install when I was downloading the demos. Can't type today. Go to your main file, click Scene Files, Advanced Render. There's a whole bunch of sample files in your scene files. Global illumination, max on car. It's all in here. And there's other things like glass, this neat little room. Some neat stuff, they got samples in here. We need to finish rendering and texturing this. So what we can do is, since we're going to continue to do this for the website, go ahead and turn that red, and click this composite tag, and unclick scene by camera. These two GI things, this is our lighting, uses an HDRI lighting. One is a slightly blurred one for the lighting, I believe, and one is slightly unblurred for reflections. And as you can tell, one of these is only seen by the renderer. One of these is seen by everything but like the renderer. One of these are for reflections, one of these are not. It's kind of weird how you can use the two images to do different things. And this is really just ready for render. Once you just click that back to how it originally was, it'll just render those objects, nothing else. So what we didn't do now is, see, I've already got all these materials set up, but I'll tell you what they are. These two are the lighting. In our luminance camera, there's an HDR file, which is a 32-bit high dynamic range file. Different than a regular JPEG. You can use a regular like JPEG or whatever, but it won't be as good a quality. And for the background, we have in here is just a regular color. It's a gradient or gradient. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. In here we have an alpha, a circle, gradient, alpha. Alphas are like transparency maps. It's like transparency, but it's like a masking is what it is. It masks. Whereas transparency, this is good for glass. This is a little shader I made. It's a little dull shader with a slight bump mapping on it. Can't really see it, but it just kind of breaks it up a little bit. And here is our glass I've made. Huge. This is a normal object, so if you just double click, you can click change the color, leave the color alone. Transparency to this ever so slight bluish green. Make all these settings here. Refraction. Refraction is default at 0. So as soon as you click that, it's gonna look like that. Or that's hang on, 0. Oh no, it's set to 1 is what it's set at. So okay, it'll look like that. Set to 1.3 is water. 1.5 is what I've got it at. Click bump, click this little arrow, this is where you load your images. But since we just click noise, and it'll add this noise. But if you click into noise, there's different types of noise. And right here in the noise, the scale is normally at 100. I have the scale set to 60. Since I'm not using UV mapping, which UV mapping is like assigning a polygon to a picture, each polygon to a picture. Since I don't have that, it works a little differently, so I can set the global scale to 60, which will scale it down on every model this is assigned to. And then the regular one is a sheen. This is a separate shader. This isn't a normal shader. Shaders are basically just like that. There you go. You just created a shader. But what this is, you click File, Shader, Sheen. There's different things. There's fog, Mabel, nuclei, different things for different things. And then just simply click Sheen. If I'm correct, this is no different. Yeah, that's just a default sheen. So what we can do here is which is our inner egg. Drag the sheen to the inner egg, the glass to the main egg, the BR's basic shader, Black Raven's basic shader, onto the main pillar. Because if you texture a parent, all the children will be the same texture. And if say I added this blue one to that lathe, that one will have it, but everything else will have the regular thing. If you click the tag, you can delete it. These are all your tags, as you probably already noticed at this point. Next thing you can do is, I figured out, if you just copy the background to your text object. If you want, you can create a whole new shader, play with all these different little effects, procedural effects, and everything. Play with all those if you want. But I'm just going to do this quick, and I already have everything pre-made. Everything in here is pre-made and in the download. There should be in the main video. You should have downloaded this. If not, why are you watching this? And after you got that, you're pretty much done to render. What you need to do now is click your render settings, and change your output size. If you're using the demo, you can only do 640 by 480. That's the highest you can render. But I think I've got this set to 300 by 400, which creates a decent sized image that we need. Zoom in a little bit. I leave everything else alone. Anti-aliasing, make sure it's at best. Filter sync. Options are already set for you. Global illumination. Global illumination is realistic lighting. This can take a pain in the butt forever to tweak and get perfectly to look good. This is already preset for you. Be happy. Make sure that's clicked. You can go to save it to your desktop or wherever. Make sure you're saving it as a QuickTime PNG with alpha channel and straight alpha. Then all you do once all those settings are done, simply click that, which will render to which will render to your picture viewer. I already have one saved, so I just click yes to overwrite. Wait for it to render the pretty image. And depending on if you got like multi-channel set up, like you can have multi-passes. The main multi-pass is mainly when you're compositing into live action footage, because when you do that, you can tweak each and every layer, add that to the images, and you can see those images in here, like on channels. Like you can see the alpha channel, which is the transparency map. And that is your image. And in the last video, you will get to see how you add that to your website. It's exactly the same as adding a regular image to the website. So as long as you can add an image to a website, you don't even need the last part. So just go ahead and add the image to your website. It's already got the transparency maps. It's set up for you. All you do is copy paste. You're done. And that is me signing off. Goodbye until the next one.